Special memory in Toronto, GTA area. Probably be my draft day with my family. We're honestly in the car, and everyone knows the 401 here, stuck in traffic, and was trying to make it to a family reunion the day of the draft, and was kind of unsure if we would get drafted, if we would go undrafted and wait the next year. And my dad was driving, I was in the back of the car with my phone obviously on, and got a text from one of the workers from the Whalers who was out at the draft and was like, hey, you just got taken by New Jersey in the 3rd round. And we had waited, I think, till like 3rd round, 2nd pick was Toronto that year or something. So my mom and dad obviously wanted to see that, being hometowners. And we took off, and not even probably 10, 15 minutes into the ride, that text came through, and I was just like, hey, don't joke with me, like it was a big day. And then all of a sudden my agent called, New Jersey called, and my dad's trying to drive, and it was a hectic backseat with 2 older brothers punching me a bunch for no apparent reason other than congratulatory beatdown. But you know, that was obviously fun, and then obviously we just spend the rest of the afternoon with family was a big deal.
Thanks for coming. Love you all.
Love
Toronto.
Love you all for sure.
Cheers.
The crowd.
Yeah. A little bit more time in person.
Love you guys. Thanks for coming.
Cheers.
5, or I think it was grade 5 at Morton Way.
What?
You used to write in your journal.
Yeah. Well, that was Mr. McCormick. Or
That
whatever.
was Mr. McCormick.
Yeah. But I.
And you said then that one day you were going to play in the NHL.
Yeah. But I mean, that was. I guess.
That was grade
That was
5,
dream,
so
but-
that would have been what age? That would have been 6, 7, 8,
Well, 10.
9,
So
9, 10.
9 or 10.
Well, my biggest thing was Gary Camilleri. I don't know if you were in the room at that one practice rink right before playoffs. I think the first year I got there. Remember he brought, who was a goalie that played for Guelph? Trevor Cannon. And he, like, after one of the games where he brought me into a room, he was like, I don't know how serious you've taken it. That's probably 14. But he's like, if we don't win, if you don't play well. So he's like, and literally there's people calling to come watch you play.
Right.
And he's like, you know, you can actually put your foot forward and like make an attempt at it. And then I think that was the same year of the Oshawa General rink
Right.
showcase.
Showcase.
And then
for the
Newman
goalie.
showed up
That's
and all
when
that.
Newman came.
That's kind of when I would say like I first thought I could actually play.
Yeah.
But like,
But you were thinking about it then to write it in your journal.
yeah,
no?
well, I mean, that's kind of
It's just
everybody
what-
as a
yeah,
kid. But
I
until like it
guess,
actually
okay.
clicked in my head, like I knew I was good enough, you know, AAA hockey, but
Right.
to actually turn, I'd probably say when Camilleri was like, we don't win unless you play well. I think that was the year with the Canadians, the first year when we played against them and took them into like for 5 or 6 games or whatever.
Yeah.
And actually made it hard. But that would have been my first.
Definitely my parents would be, you know, obviously top of the list to see when I get here. I've been lucky the last couple of years. The NHLPA has a couple seats that they give to the team if anyone wants to use them, and they've been in the lower bowl, so they've saved me a good amount of money, and my parents have been appreciative of that. So they get lower bowl tomorrow, and my brothers get upper with the prices. I give them a hard time, but with the lump sum of the people they bring, it's a little bit challenging sometimes here. But always parents, you know, mom and dad obviously moved to Brampton in '83 and are still in that house. You know, go back there in the summer to visit them when I come home, and they've obviously come to Michigan a lot to take care of and help with the new baby and things like that. But you know, mom and dad have been there for us obviously since day one, and biggest supporters. They watch every game, you know, regardless of start time, and usually get a text of what time they went to bed the night before when dad's at work the next day and fighting through the first few hours. But obviously biggest supporters, and wouldn't be anywhere in the world without the 2 of them.
Scott is the youngest. Paul's 3 years older. Mark's 3 years older than Paul. So they played hockey well ahead of Scott. So Scott would be in the rink following them, and he probably watched 500 games before he got a chance to play, and he was itching to play and so forth. So Mark and Paul had off-ice training, extra stuff, power skating and so on and so forth, where you signed up for it and everything. So when Scott was starting kindergarten, Brenda would call me after the first day and said, you know, Scott's a real problem because he didn't want to go into class and he's just hanging on to me and he wouldn't let go. So I said, well, you just have to, you know, get him to go in there. So this went on for a couple of days, and finally the teacher's assistant or the teacher just grabbed him, took him in, and Scott was screaming and didn't want to go in. So she said, you have to talk to him. So that night we had dinner, and after we ate, I just said to Scott, I said, Mom's telling me you're having a hard time going to class and you don't really want to go. And, we have to talk about it because you have to go to school. And he said, well, I don't know who signed me up for this. Because he was so used to everything in our house you signed up for. But he just thought you didn't have to sign up for school. Why would you sign me up for school? So I had a hard time not laughing hysterically.
It wasn't sports related, right?
No.
So we just said, hey, it's something you have to do. So took a couple more days, but he got it.
Still don't want to go to school.
Mark's my oldest. He's 6 years older than Paul's 3. I think I'm a goalie because of them. I try not to give them too much credit, but it was always, mini sticks in road hockey. It was you're in net, you're getting shots at you. Never wanted to be in net. I think it was just because of the rebuttal to it, but it was always good, and it was always more of a annoyance to them that I was good. But a lot of injuries. I got stitches beside my eye and little things where we'd be playing mini sticks and battling, and it was just don't cry. Mom and dad are getting mad at us. We're in the basement doing stuff we shouldn't be doing, and a lot of those injuries. But then I only got to play actual organized sports a few times with them. My middle brother Paul and he was a senior and I was a freshman in Brampton Centennial High School, and they had a hockey team for 1 or 2 seasons, and the 1 year I was there for it, we ended up winning it all, and then they canceled it from funding. And then in the summers we would play inline hockey, roller hockey a ton, and it was just like men's league type sign up. And we got 1 year, it was a four-man team, or four-man, I guess, line position of the team, and my dad played with us, so we had all 4 of us on a line at once, which was a lot of fun, and obviously defending dad the best we could. But it was interesting, and obviously a lot of not even just hockey. We'd beat each other up on trampolines, video games, basketball in the driveway. It was just kind of everything and anything to pound on each other, and obviously be brothers, and me being the youngest, try and them off the most I could.
Yeah, I'd say, and Paul, jump in at any time. Scott was always pretty athletic. I mean, he was, from a young age, I would say, my parents knew to bring him to the GTHL to have that exposure so that he could get drafted, because I don't think staying in Brampton like we did would really benefit him. So they made the move. I mean, at that time, Scott was playing both goalie and defense.
Yeah.
And he was a really good defenseman, but I think he told you, I'd like to switch and try goal one time. So I think you guys put him in 3-on-3 for a summer.
That's what it was, yeah.
He had 4,000 shots a game. And he didn't want to quit then, so I think he just kind of said, I'll go with it. But I think I don't know if they made a rule afterwards, but
Well, just like
they
player
made you
cards.
decide.
It was 1 year
You had
you're
to
allowed to
choose.
do that,
Yeah,
where you're not rostered as a goalie.
right.
So the coach obviously let him play defense when it's not his turn to play goal.
Yeah, it's every other game and switched.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Well, I remember you telling us that story, and I think he lost like the first 3-on-3 game, like 18-4 or something like that. And
Elite goaltending.
yeah, and I remember you saying like you went in the dressing room after, and you're like, "Oh, that went horrible. He's gonna be pissed." And you walked in the room, and he had the biggest smile on his face.
Yeah.
Like, can we do that again?
And on that 3-on-3 team, Christian Thomas was on, Steve Thomas's son.
Yeah.
And, Scott was okay with what he did, but Steve Thomas came in the room. He said, where's that goalie? Where is he? And he went over to Scott. He said, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Way to go. And like,
Way to go! You gave up
I go,
18 goals.
"No."
In Dallas last season, my wife and I, obviously we were expecting our first child, and we weren't sure on names and gatekeeping names and the way the announcement all goes, so we were kind of calling her Baby Peach for just a reason to put her in a text message and not just being it, and kind of caught on with a new mask I was making under the Mario Kart theme. We ended up turning the gold star you'd get in Mario Kart driving around into a green star, and then put Jason Robertson has a robot character and Jay Gottinger has an otter character in a cart themselves, and then we have 2 dogs at home, Captain and Bucky, and kind of made them into some caricatures, and then put them in a cart with Baby Peach in it driving to kind of symbolize the family card, and then obviously tie it into the team. So Baby Peach was her nickname, still kind of is. She turns 1 in 2 days here while we're on the road, so we had her birthday party, and then on the new Avalanche mask with the dogs, one snowboarding, one skiing, and then she's going down in a tube trying to tie in the Avalanche and mountains and Colorado type, I guess, picturesque hockey area to tie in the hockey theme. And then she's kind of been a staple in the last few masks, and unfortunately won't make the next one, but you gotta change it up every once in a while. Explaining to her what I do for a living would kind of, I guess, go along the lines of an entertainment business. You're technically an athlete, but you have to do it in a lot of different situations and locations. Some places you're loved, some places you're hated. It's kind of the nature of the business. I remember one goalie said, there's only one place on earth where you can get scored on and 19,000 people boo you when a red light turns on, and that's kind of the goaltending position in a nutshell. But then on home ice, back in Denver, they've been showing it recently, they can get behind you with the wedgie chant. And obviously pump you up when you're on the home team, but you're on a sheet of ice with 4mm blades and 100-mile-an-hour object flying at you, and my job's to keep it out of a 4x6 net. So I think my wife's only rule right now is she can't be a goalie, and I think we'll be on good terms.